UFC Vegas. I will start again. UFC Vegas. Josh Emmett versus Vallejos went down last Saturday night. I'm here today to do a recap of the full card, give my thoughts, and who maybe some of these fighters should fight next. However, if you're here for like who you should fight next and people like what's her name, Sam Hughes, then you're on the wrong channel. I will not be doing that. Anyway, straight away, main event: Josh Emmett versus Vallejos. I made a video earlier on the channel, but nevertheless, we'll go a brief recap. There's not much to talk about. Vallejos just went out there, fucking destroyed Josh Emmett. Landed a massive straight right down the middle, put Emmett down. Emmett clearly can't take the punches of these elite fighters anymore. I mean, we saw Vallejos look okay against guys like Danny Silva. He's come on leaps and bounds since those type of fights. Obviously, his last time out destroyed Giga Chikadze, and now Josh Emmett, 2 good wins against well-respected names in the division. And for me, you have to make that Jean Silva rematch. Or no other fight for Vallejos. Maybe a Yair Rodriguez. You have to make that Jean Silva rematch. Everybody around him's got a fight booked. Allen, Sterling, Zalal, Garcia, all those type of guys around him in the weight class have matches made. Vallejos will be number 10 or 11, 24 years of age, 18-1. Wow, what a prospect! Give him Jean Silva. We need that rematch. We do not want to see Jean Silva ever fight for the belt. Vallejos will chin Jean Silva. His opponent, Josh Emmett. Wow, buddy. No, there's 2 options here, bud. You've got to retire or fight the winner of Nathaniel Wood versus Los Kita, which I'm praying is Nathaniel Wood. Josh Emmett clearly is not capable to keep up with the modern day fighters. We see Yusuf Salal. I don't rate Yusuf Salal at all. He just went out there, sobbed him straight away, and we've seen now the striking isn't there. Like if you can avoid a Josh Emmett bomb overhand, you are going to beat him. You could easily take the back like Zalal did, or just KO him on the feet like Vallejos did. Josh Emmett, please retire, bud. If not, give your free win to Nathaniel Wood after he destroyed Los Kita to get Nathaniel Wood in the rankings. But Josh Emmett, I don't know, bro. It's not looking good. The power punching strategy doesn't work anymore, and he should retire. Honestly, 41 is only going to degress. Let's limit the CT you're going to get, buddy. And yeah, just call it a day. Leave the legacy okay. We don't want to see another Tony Ferguson in the featherweight division. Co-main event. Wow, what a fight this was. Amanda Lemos versus Gillian Robertson. We were all entertained watching that shit. It's just the same old. I picked Lemos to win. I thought she'd be able to stuff the takedowns, but Lemos can't do it. Lemos can't grapple. And like everyone said, Gillian Robertson can't strike. So it went the way we all thought it would if Robertson would win, where she's just going to lay on Lemos for five straight rounds. I think fuck it wasn't. 3 straight rounds. Very boring. She did the job. She called for a title shot. Fuck off. Mackenzie Dern, I don't think he's very good at all. Absolutely mops the floor of Gillian Robertson. Mackenzie Dern should be fighting Zhang Weili next. That should be the fight made. So for Gillian Robertson, Vina Jandiroba is okay. She's there, number 3, pretty stale. She lost to Mackenzie Dern. No one really cares about Vina Jandiroba. I'm sorry if there's a Vina Jandiroba fan watching. I don't mean to offend you, but nobody cares about Vina Jandiroba. Give her Gillian Robertson. She seems okay, but I don't think she'll ever touch the belt. The striking is just simply not there. For Amanda Lemos, on the other hand, she still can't grapple. She'll still be ranked number 7, number 8, number 6, something like that. And the only other woman really in the weight class around her is Tabitha Ricci. The UFC love Tabitha Ricci. I can guarantee this fight gets made next. The UFC will see this as a golden ticket to get Tabitha Ricci higher rank because Amanda Lemos can't grapple and Tabitha Ricci is okay at grappling. And we saw her last time out actually get a KO over, I can't remember who it was, but she did KO. I remember she got nasty knee up the middle in the clinch and put someone out. But yeah, with Lemos, Tabitha Ricci and Gillian Robertson, Vina Jandiroba. Very boring fight as expected. Feature fight of the card was, if I can move it, Andre Fili versus Jose Delgado. Very, very close fight. I did think Fili could have won. We look at the stats here. It's not a good look for Andre Fili, but if you actually watched the fight, you'd have seen it was a lot closer fight. He even ended the fight well with the 2 takedowns. And Jose Delgado, people were saying Nathaniel Wood robbed him. And that Delgado was a lock of the card. Like everyone thought Delgado was going to go out there and smoke Andre Fili in the first round. But let's be honest, Andre Fili, he's okay. He is literally a crafty vet, crafty unk for a reason. And looked good on the feet. It was a very competitive fight. Andre Fili got the takedowns at will, which is not a good look for a guy like Jose Delgado in this division when he is tipped to be one of the next stars of it. So for that reason, I'm not very high on the Jose Delgado hype train anymore. I still think he's a solid top of the potentially ranked in the future fighter in the featherweight division, just on the edge of the rankings. So for that reason, I think he should get a guy like a Myron Santos, someone like that, on the similar edge, on the verge of the rankings, but not quite deserving of a ranked shot yet due to a couple of lackluster performances last time out. But he did the job. He got back in there after his robbery to Nathaniel Wood, where people just hate Nathaniel Wood. I'm not biased at all to Nathaniel Wood, by the way, if you couldn't tell. And got the job done, got the win, which is what he needed to do. Andre Fili, it caused him some problems. I don't, I, I don't think Jose Delgado is all that. But yeah, give him a guy like Myron Santos on the edge of the rankings who's okay. And for Andre Fili, that's a guy that's been there, done it, got the t-shirt, but never going to be ranked. He's a crafty, as I said, he's a crafty vet. He'll give all these big names outside of the rankings tough problems. He very rarely goes out there and just gets dominated. We did see him put himself in a guillotine against Marcos Acosta. However, on the feet he's solid. For that reason, I think we should give him a guy like Morgan Charrier. A fun matchup. That should be a fun striking fight. Both those guys are kind of mid. I've lost to the comp above them, like a Delgado, like a Wood, like a Marcos Acosta. It would be a good fight to make because it'd be a fun striking fight. Neither of those guys are too good. They both deserve to stay in the UFC. Both capable of fun fights, but not really that good. Put that on like a fight night main card, prelims of a pay per view. That's a guaranteed banger. It's a fucking banger, kid. Marwan Rahiki versus Harry Hardwick. Can we please get a prayer for Harry Hardwick's chin and jaw? Honestly, that should be an 18 rated fight to watch. Harry Hardwick, we got dominated. We are simply not good enough to compete with the top of the UFC division. You know, it's sad for Harry Hardwick. I picked Harry Hardwick. I thought he could could volume max Mauro Mahiki and get his way to a crafted decision, but that was not the case. Mauro Mahiki. Let me just say one thing about Mauro Mahiki. Offensively, he's very good, but when you pressure Mauro Mahiki, he's there to be hit. Question marks on his defense and shin. I don't think Mauro Mahiki's all that, and that's not me being salty because he beat Harry Hardwick. I think Mauro Mahiki's a pretty mid fighter in this division. But he still went out there and broke Harry Hardwick's jaw. Please don't cut Harry Hardwick. He's clearly a fun fighter. Yes, it's not a good look. He's been wheeled out on a wheelchair and had his jaw broke in his 2 fights in the UFC. However, don't cut him. For Harry Hardwick, give him a guy like Bogdan Grad. That's a winnable fight. Bogdan Grad hasn't got that KO power or incredible striking like Harry Hardwick's fought in his first 2 fights against Kyle Fernandez and now Mauro Mahiki. Bogdan Grad predominantly wants to take you down. We saw what he tried to do to Luke Riley. Pretty boring. I think Hardwick can win a decision over Bogdan Grad. There'll be some good scrambles in that fight. And I think that's what Harry Hardwick needs next. Because if Harry Hardwick gets kept, which I'm assuming he will because he showed a lot of heart, I mean, I pray he will. I think he's UFC level, just on that mid to low level of the featherweight division where he can go out there and have some fun fights. He's not going to beat guys like Mauro Mahiki or anyone near the rankings, but he'll go out there and beat the bottom of the barrel. Fun fighter. He's a big name in the UK. I know the UFC don't give a fuck about the UK, but please keep him. Other hand, the victorious man here, Mauro Mahiki. You don't look that good, bud. I don't think you are ranked level at all. Harry Hardwick was giving you problems on the feet, and let's be honest, as much as we love Harry Hardwick, he is not an elite fighter in this division, as much as it pains me to say. For that reason, I think we should give Mauro Mahiki a decent striker, unranked. A guy that impressed on his debut recently, Javier Reyes. I think that'd be a decent fight. We saw him have problems against Douglas Silva de Andrade in his debut on the UFC Mexico card. Should be a good fight. We've seen Mauro Mahiki get dropped in his Dana White Contender Series debut, and we saw Javier Reyes get dropped. That'd be a fun striking fight. Probably a high likelihood of a KO. And yeah, fuck Mauro Mahiki, eh? How dare you do that to Harry Hardwick? Uh, Another fight on the main card. This was a unexpected outcome. Ion Cutelaba went out there and submitted Umar Sy. Nice little guillotine. What a surprise! A Frenchie taps to a guillotine that quickly. Who's ever done that before? Cyril Gahn. But Ion Kutalaba's just a marauder. He'll go out there, put the pressure on you. He's not scared of the power coming back at him, which is questionable. That's why we've seen him lose 11 times. But he's a solid fighter, he's made massive improvements in the grappling. We've seen him out-grapple Umar Sy now, and in the past, guys like Ion Kutalaba, that is Ion Kutalaba. Ubo Aslan, Ion Kutalaba will fraud check these prospects if they're not legit, just like, yeah, he'll fraud check prospects like Umar Sy if he's not legit. However, he's never going to be ranked, he's never going to be ever near the belt in his life. We've seen guys like Modestas Bukauskas, that was a close fight as well, to be fair, have success against him, and Modestas Bukauskas is pretty mid as well. So, for Ion Kutalaba, he wants to get in there pretty quickly. I think we give him another guy on the verge of the rankings. Billy Elakana, and the winner of that should get a ranked opponent or a chance to that 14 to 15 mark. Pretty good fight. Both two guys have decent grappling. Ion Kutalaba, you'd say, would probably have the advantage on the feet. That should be a good fight. For the loser, Umar Sy, oh dear buddy, you've had your chance. You had your big layup in the rankings against Alonzo Menifield and looked shit in that fight. You then get another easy layup fight back home in Paris against not Vitor Petrino. The other Brazilian light heavyweight that's pretty shit. I've forgotten his name. And you got schooled. No, you didn't get schooled. You got a TKO in that fight. You did well in that fight. You've then been given another decent opponent, Ion Kutalaba, and you shit the bed and got subbed. So I say we give him Ibo Aslan. That'll probably be on the Paris card in September because he probably won't fight again until then. And they should cut the loser of that fight. Disappointed from Umar Sy. I did pick Umar Sy to win. He's fucking huge for the division, Looks wise, he should be champ. Very physically imposing guy, but just doesn't have the skill. Opening up the main card, we had Charles Johnson versus Bruno Silva. I fucking hate Charles Johnson. Just because you fluked a young Lona Kavanagh, and they're both still young, a young and raw Lona Kavanagh and Joshua Van does not mean you are of their level they are now. They have made massive improvements since them fights, and we could arguably say for you have degressed. How the fuck can you rob Bruno Silva and then go out there and call for a top 5 opponent and say, I knocked Josh Van out, I knocked Lona Kavanagh out? You will get schooled by anybody. I mean, we saw what Alex Perez did to you. How are people forgetting that Alex Perez has just gone out there and killed Charles Johnson? Charles Johnson fucking sucks. But he's probably going to get a big fight because the flyweight division is very shallow. He's a pretty big name for the division. If you want to give him a big fight, give him Brandon Moreno. Brandon Moreno looked pretty shit against Lona Kavanagh, but I still think he'd have enough to beat a guy like Charles Johnson. Charles Johnson probably wouldn't be able to stuff the takedowns like Lona Kavanagh did, and could probably get him a sub or a decision win. I cannot stand fighters that are so cocky and think their tone time's better. I get you trying to sell yourself, be a big name, but fuck you, Charles Johnson. We will be hate watching Charles Johnson for eternity. However, on the other hand, Bruno Silva, yeah, that's not it, buddy. I thought you looked okay in the first 2 rounds. You faded towards the end of the fight. You are not elite level either in this division, so we need to give you a guy outside of the rankings to prove yourself in the rankings still. For that reason, a guy like Edgar Chairez, big hype, from Mexico, a fun fighter, fast pace. Give him a guy like Edgar Chairez to test if he's got it still. Um, Outside of that, on the prelims, we had Chris Curtis versus Montabek Orobai. What a surprise. Chris Curtis got out-grappled and started bitching about it online. It's a shame to be in there with a guy that just doesn't want to fight. Bro, I don't like grapplers that grapple like that or are just going to sniff your crotch for 15 straight minutes, but you cannot say he did not want to be in there. He clearly out-grappled you. You just stop coping and just improve the wrestling, brother. Montabek Orobai, he's a very fun fighter, but that was a fucking stinker of a performance. And you have to call it out for what it is. Montabek Orobai, I like Montabek Orobai. He's a pretty fun, funny guy, but that was an absolute stinker. Absolute shit performance. Fun, like, for the hype-wise, it's just like watching Oliveira Holloway again. No doubt about it, Orobai's very skilled, incredible grappling. Has a fun fight in him, but that was not it, bud. Very boring fight. Chris Curtis, though, offered nothing defensively. He could have called for a leg, or for a guillotine, maybe fought his way up to the feet. He didn't really throw much at the start of the rounds where he could have put a bit of threat in Orobai to make him hesitant of the takedowns. But yeah, Orobai, as expected, went out there and beat Chris Curtis. I thought he could have KO'd him on the feet, but took the smart approach because he knew he's better than Chris Curtis in the grappling. Chris Curtis is shit at grappling. Chris Curtis is okay though. Let's not get too silly here. Chris Curtis is for sure UFC level. For that reason, I'll say you give him a guy like Yusuf Salau. Not Yusuf Salau, Carlos Leal. Carlos Leal, fine striker, come off with a good win against Chidi and Giuquani. He's got big power in the hands. That'd be a good stand-up fight. Chris Curtis is a solid striker as much as he likes to bitch and cry. He was clearly outsized at middleweight, so I'm glad he's come down to welterweight. But a guy like Carlos Leal, someone on the edge of the rankings coming off of a decent win, probably could get a highlight reel win over a big name in the division like Chris Curtis. Unless you want to give him a guy, an unk at the bottom of the division, which would be pretty boring. Honestly, I'm pretty sure Michael Chiesa's opponent's pulled out. Don't be surprised if Chris Curtis takes that on short notice. But for Matabek Orobai, good performance. Let's not push him in the rankings yet. I say we give him a guy like Nicholas Dalby, someone like that that's been there, done it, a fun fighter, got good grappling, got good stand-up, that will challenge Matabek Orobai. Because we've seen Orobai have wars with solid, well-rounded fighters like Mateusz Brabeski. I'm not too sold on Orobai yet. He's a good fighter, a fun fighter, but that was a stinker of performance, but I just got to say how it is. Talking of a stinker of performance, this was for sure not one. Vitor Petrino versus Steven Asplan. Very good fight. I thought Petrino would go out there and get the KO early, and I thought Asplan would outlast Petrino. The complete opposite. Steven Asplan looked very good in the first 2 rounds, dropping Vitor Petrino. But Vitor Petrino is too fast on the feet, used that lighter man skill, and Steven Asplan, let's be honest, is you throw a leg kick at Steven Asplan, he falls over. You know, the footwork isn't there for Steven Asplan. He's a fun fighter. He'll go out there and beat guys like Sean Sharaf. You put him anywhere up in the division against a mobile guy like a Vitor Petrino, he's going to have problems and probably lose. Fair play to Asplan, though. With all respect, he's a fucking warrior. We see he didn't give up. Many fighters would have given up in there after getting all the damage he took. Fun fight. Asplan is a fun fighter. Pretty funny guy. You know, all the shorts pulling down thing. But Vitor Petrino is just faster and better. Vitor Petrino is not exactly elite in this division. However, the heavyweight division's fucking shit. So Vitor Petrino is in the rankings, I'm pretty sure. For that reason, I think you give him a guy like a Shamil Gaziev, and I can obviously see it being a repeat of this fight, where Shamil Gaziev probably beats him. No, he could probably beat Shamil Gaziev. Shamil Gaziev's okay. A guy like a Shamil Gaziev who's okay, ranked, but he's never going to touch the belt. Vitor Petrino could beat him simply on light man skill. Because Shamil Gaziev's just a fat blob of shit. A bit like Asplan, but a tiny bit better. So, Vitor Petrino, this shows how shit the division is. Vitor Petrino could be top 10 by the end of 2026, early 2027. But for Steven Asplan, for sure keep him in the UFC. Don't go. Maybe give him a guy like Janota Deniz. He could outvolume him. Or if you want to push him real low, give him someone like a Louis Sutherland if he loses. Some bum like that in the division. Maybe rebook a Denzel Freeman fight if he's still in the UFC after not, hopefully, because he lost that one on the regional scene. But yeah, Steven Asplan, fun guy, but he's not an elite fighter in the heavyweight division, to say the least. Elijah Smith versus Yu Sung Yu. Yu Sung Yu. Elijah Smith looked very good. I thought Yu Sung Yu could give him problems on the grappling, but he did well in the first round. Yu Sung Yu got Elijah Smith down a couple of times, but Elijah Smith did well to wrap up the sub and get the second round win. I did expect Elijah Smith to win. I'm not going to lie, I don't really care too much about it. I don't really rate him that highly. He's only young, so there's big time to improve. Yu Sung Yu's kind of mid, decent grappler, but on the feet, he's not really got much to offer. So we'll keep building Elijah Smith slowly. Maybe give him a guy like Bexa Almacan. It's that Australian guy Volt trains with. Colby Thickness, someone like that. Just mid-level, low-level in the UFC. He's only 23. Let's not rush him. He's still green. Needs guys like Yu Sung Yu to beat to further improve the skill set. Yu Sung Yu, I don't really care, to be honest. If you're here for a Yu Sung Yu matchup, you have reached the wrong channel and probably should stop watching the sport. Unless you are Korean, you should not care that much about Yu Sung Yu. Decent fight for Elijah Smith, good win, but Yu Sung Yu is pretty mid, so it was expected. Balaj Yoki versus Mamor Souza. This was a fucking great fight. Mamor Souza, if you hadn't have pulled yourself on bottom straight away, Balaj Oki probably would have gassed early, as he always does. And you could have got the finish in the second, or he did get the finish in the third, though, to be fair. No, let's take it back. Balaj Oki showed improvements in the cardio. He won all 3 rounds. You can see him starting to fade in the third. Did very well in the first round. A lot of grappling control time. But Vallejos just slows down in these fights, and guys are going to beat you when you slow down. The cardio isn't there, Vallejos. If you watched it, you'd have seen the cringe walkout. What are you doing, bro? You are not that type of fighter to be given like a Sigma stare down, walking out to slow-mo music. Manuel Souza looks good, very good debut. Got the highlight reel he was looking for, put Vallejos down, pretty cold KO. And for Manuel Souza, I'm pretty impressed, you know. Let's not give him nothing silly yet, just keep giving guys like Vallejos. 14-1's an impressive record. I know the records don't really mean much in MMA. But I was impressed with Manuel Souza. I thought he did well with the grappling threat and the striking threat of Vallejos. Vallejos impressed me. I thought he'd gas out quicker than that. But Manuel Souza got the job done, got the KO win. As predicted, by the way. I did predict Manuel Souza to go out there and beat Vallejos. Luan Lacerda versus Hector Souza. As expected, Luan Lacerda lost. Hector Souza didn't shoot any takedowns, surprisingly. After watching his Dana White Contender Series fight, he heavily relied on the takedowns. But I just went out there and had a decent striking battle against Luan Lacerda. I'm not going to lie, I didn't watch this fight. I live in the UK and TNT Sports don't let us watch the first 2-3 fights of the card. It's pretty gay, but that's that, I guess. I've just realised I've skipped the next fight. We'll come back to that after. This is a fucking mess. I apologise. I didn't watch this fight. The UK don't let us watch these fights, but as expected, Hector Souza won. Cut Luan Lacerda. Give Hector Souza some mid-bantamweights, like a... Who knows? Bia Mesquita, though, another person who I was pretty high on. She's a very talented grappler, as expected. Went out there and subbed Montserrat Rendon. And we need to fast-track Bia Mesquita. We need to get Beatrice Mesquita, however you say her name. We need to give her the Alex Pereira treatment, boost her up the rankings immediately. She's 35 years of age, clearly has the grappling talent to compete with the top women in the bantamweight division. And for that reason, I think you should give her like a woman like Nora Kano, someone like that in the division. Coming off a loss to Jocelyn Edwards. If you really want to push Bia Mesquita, a woman like that to get her in the rankings would be a smart decision from the UFC. And for Rendon, I don't care. I don't know who you are. Just average Apex prelim fight. And for the first fight of the night, again, I couldn't watch it because I live in the UK. They don't let us see these fights. If only we had Paramount like the US do. But as expected, Pereira Rodriguez went out there. I was just better everywhere than Sam Hughes. Sam Hughes is very mid. She'll beat bombs in the division. And Pereira Rodriguez seems to be okay. I'm not going to lie, I don't know an awful lot. I didn't watch the fight. I can't give it a full detailed breakdown. I do apologise. Yeah, a decent card overall. Let me know who you guys think should fight next. Let me know what you guys think about the card. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. Please drop a like, subscribe, follow me on Twitter, TikTok, Daily MMA. And yeah, thank you once again.